this. There. Um, Sorry about that. I just need to make some adjustments on our camera because it's okay too much of my face. Let's try to find a good balance between the too much close up. Maybe that's it. I think that would be fine. Yeah, I think that's perfect. So I'm trying the this new phone that is micless. Apparently, the Oppo phone has the capacity to reduce noise. So let's try it for this live stream to check if hindi tayo bibiguin ni Oppo. Okay? So, Madali lang. Let me just check our live stream on my laptop because I'm doing again a dual screen para mas mabilis yung um, reading natin ng mga comments and reactions nyo later on. I just wanted to make sure that everything is fine in terms of the technicality of our live stream this evening. Because this evening, we're going to be talking about a wide variety of things, especially focusing on the auctions, because I know there has been so much talk around this. I didn't well, I kind of expected it, but I did not predicted that it would blow up so much when I posted a simple question about the auction of Pia Wurtzbach's pageant memorabilia that even a former Fred had to weigh in on the issue. So we're going to be talking about auctions in general, things that made me think why I needed to ask the question, things that on my end explaining the where the question came from. Okay, and then we'll be talking about influencer this year because I think 2024 is going to be the year where influencer marketing has really blown up in all of social media, and I think that this is the year that we really got exposed. Thankfully, because of influencers like Heart Evangelista, Catriona Gray, we are able to look at a trajectory or a career path that the pageant girls could possibly take in terms of post pageant careers. Okay. And then we're going to be breaking down several influencers that I think we really need to discuss in terms of what are their contributions in this very increasingly becoming overpopulated pool of influencers, because maraming influencers na tawag nito na hindi ganun ka-effective when it comes to what they're trying to push in terms of their socials, and we want to take a look at what makes a influencer a good one versus one that is ineffective. Okay, so there will be three things that we will be talking about, and two of those binanggit ko na, and the first thing that I think I want to start off this entire conversation with you guys is the wins for the year. I think 2024 for me is a winning year. It is a year full of quiet triumphs, quiet lessons. It was definitely a year of growth, career-wise, personal life-wise. Maraming mga growth that happened, and maraming lessons na natutunan ako this year. And I think one of those lessons is just an reiteration of the age-old advice that was given to me way back when I was a part of the Sash Factor family, where Bricks Vera, one of our co-founders for Sash Factor, really drilled into me that this industry, glamorous as it may look, is not a easy industry, especially on the pageant media side, because what he said before still rings true to this day. And he mentioned that in this industry, there are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. And that is something that I really, learned the hard way this year, because some of the people that I trusted, some of the people that I treated as friends, would backstab me and, say things behind my back without even communicating with me first during, the times that they could have made, the mature decision of telling me you're doing things wrong, you need to lie low on certain things that you're unsure of, or you don't have full knowledge on, and instead use that as an opportunity to get monetized content, perhaps get clout, and things that I would have hoped that would have been communicated as a friend would have been done in a private manner. But realizing, some of the mistakes that I made this year, I also understand that this is an industry where sometimes, in order for you to move forward, you gotta, step on other people's backs, just so you can get ahead. However, for me, that has not been my personality type. That is why when during the times that there were, people who were trying to put Catriona grade down, I was one of the defenders who were there, you know, doing what I can in order to protect, in order to, to help ease out the misinformation and disinformation and the propaganda that was, being rolled against her. And seeing that on happening again on Heart Evangelista, I thought it needed to be said, that there are things that a lot of people don't know, and a lot of people know but don't care about, exposing the truth. So I found it, another opportunity, to step up and speak truth, especially on instances where you really see, people trying to put someone, or trying to put a good person down. And I think that was one of the major lessons this year, is that people will protect the people that tama ito, that are important to them. And I think it's just a matter of perspective nowadays for me, that if you protect a good person, good karma comes back. And that has been, I think, a major shift in perspective, in mindset for me this year. It has been a very it the year 2024 is not a year of, easy smooth sailing na journey. I would say that this year was a lesson on taking the losses and taking the wins, and celebrating the small victories in between. And I am very glad, actually, that looking back, despite everything that has happened, everything that, all the lessons, all the hard lessons that I had learned over the year, the wins, the positive things outweigh everything that has gone down in a bad way. Because honestly, I did not expect that for this year I would be financially blessed, with all of the things that has happened. And it started actually when our current president, Bongbong Marcos, I know not a lot of fans are keen on the political aspect of discussions. So I'm not going to go there. But I have to recognize the fact that one of the things that he did well for teachers this year is to increase the salaries for all public school teachers, whether they are from grade school to secondary to tertiary levels. And it was really a very, very warm blessing for a lot of educators, especially since I myself, aside from the fact that I come from a family of medical practitioners, I also come from a family that has a lot of educators as well. So my mom is an educator. She was a high school teacher. Four of my aunts were um, teachers from grade school to college level. I have mga pinsan, cousins that have been in the education, in the elementary and grades, and high school, mga schools teaching. And me finding myself in the same position as them, I feel like everything that we have invested in ourselves, that we teach our students, has really paid because of the recognition, the financial recognition rather, that this administration has given us. So isipin nyo, I remember when I first started teaching, nasa 700 lang yung per hour yung rate ng mga teachers on a certain level, because there are certain levels, okay, in the public school sector. And now seeing that rise from 700 per hour to 900 per hour to now around 1.2, 1.5, 1.7 per hour, it was really something that makes us appreciate the things that we do, because in anything that we do, when you are financially rewarded, you tend to give more and you tend to be more motivated, not because you're only doing it for the financial rewards, but you recognize that you are being compensated fairly, and that your efforts is recognized by the people who pays your livelihood. So I'm really grateful for that. So another thing that happened this year is that our presence on across three social media platforms has really shown growth. This year we've seen our Facebook page rise up from around 43,000 followers earlier this year to now. I think it's around 51 point something, 51 point 1 or point 2, 51.2 thousand. So I'm really glad with that. Our YouTube account has already grown. We're now at around 8,000 strong here in our Sashes&Scripts community in YouTube. So I'm really, very elated with that. We might not have hit our target on our Instagram channel, but targeting at around 20K by the end of this year, and now we are at around 19.4. Really, really blows our mind. We did not expect that we are going to have this kind of growth, explosive growth this year. We were hoping for it, but we were not really expecting, something huge like this happening. Of course, we have to mention the fact that this is made possible when we expanded our content, expanded our topics to discuss on our channels, from pageants to now cover bits and pieces of the fashion industry, small pieces that I think are introductory topics, so that unti-unti binubuksan ko yung very multi-faceted, multi-industry na ecosystem ng fashion, so that you are given a glimpse, a little bit here and there, so that hindi siya overwhelming kapag nag-full-on fashion tayo. I think that the fashion industry is an ecosystem of multiple industries, from retail, from design, from magazines and advertising, from sales, to social media, to visual merchandising, to retail merchandising and apparel merchandising. So those are very vast na mga topics to be had, down to marketing, influencer marketing, social media marketing. So it has been a very complex na industry to introduce to you guys, but we are doing it step by step, nang hindi ka naman kayo mabigla doon sa changes that you see in our content. And I am glad that I am able to do this as well, simply because fashion is an industry that I have been part of since I graduated and started working in 2004. That's 20 years now, and I'm still working here in this industry, albeit in a different capacity. But in every iteration of my career, from designing for pen shop and folded and hung, to working abroad, working with international brands ranging from BCBG, Max Azria, to Lacoste, to Nine West, to Pandora, Tumi, luggages, and these multiple mga shoes and bags and accessories and apparel na mga brands. It has really been a very interesting ride, so to speak. I'm also very much glad that for this year, as I mentioned earlier, kung may increase na mga salaries, of course kasama na din yung mga promotion. I am really very, very happy, because if I'm not mistaken, my current position in one of the schools that I'm teaching in is at the senior lecturer level. We're not yet in the professor na tawag nito na rank, but unti-unti, who knows, in the next 10 years, that might have been something na ma-achieve natin. I'm also currently an OIC chairperson for one of the schools, private schools that I am teaching in. So that's another blessing. And this is also the reason, kung napapansin nyo, this past 2 weeks, this December, it has been a very slow in terms of our live stream, in terms of our content here on YouTube, because my energies is primarily focused on the administrative tasks for that part of the job. So I am really trying to learn to balance things out. It's not yet perfect. I'm still in the process of learning, processing, and managing the very tight balance between my day jobs and as well as my responsibility on my socials. So I am really grateful to you guys, because your understanding, your vast wisdom on the fact that I also need to have a day job to take care of my day job, allows me to balance. Albeit it's still a little bit wonky, but I am still very much grateful, because you allow me to have, or rather, you allow me to experiment on that balance. Previously, in the past, when I have more free time, if you notice, I have like 3 posts per day. So now it has been relegated to maybe 1 or 2. So I'm really still very much grateful for everyone who has been here with me, communicating, engaging with our content. I may not have all the time in the world to to be 100% to talk on social media, but I am making effort as well naman to be able to deliver and engage with you guys. So it's not yet perfect. I'm still finding the right formula through all of this, but we'll get there. I promise you that. And then, wow, this year also has been very, very much of a blessing, in terms of the fact that we just started opening our content on fashion around April or May. And then as soon as pumatak yung months ng August, ganyan, we have started to cover some fashion events. And some of this would be the bench body of work model castings. We also had been invited to the Bench Fashion Week for their holiday na collections. And then we also had Vogue Threads around November of this year. So it's really been a very, it's a year of growth. And it has been a year of wonderful opportunities that I did not know were possible. So this 2024 honestly has been really great to us. And on a personal note, one of the small wins is the fact that dati-rati hindi ako magkasya sa size 40 na pants. Now, from size 42, yung mga size 42 na pants ko ngayon, kinakailangan belt, naka-belt na ako sa kanila. Because now, when I look up for mga pants in Uniqlo, in Pen Shop and Bench, I fit a size 38. So I'm kind of happy with that. It's not, I'm not yet at the optimal na health in weight for my height, but we're getting there. I think totoo yung sinasabi nila that slow progress is still progress, and you have to be proud of the small wins, because small wins, when you add them up, they become big. One last thing, I am very grateful because of our monetized channels here in YouTube and other social media channels, that all of those mga monetized content na ipapublish natin dito sa YouTube allows me to save all of that. So, hindi ko nagagalaw yung mga tao ito, yung mga ano natin, mga earnings natin here on YouTube. So, it helped me achieve yung target kong savings this year, and I'm happy to say that I kinda overshot it by around 50K in terms of my overall savings for this year. So I'm really, really grateful for you guys for all the support. Ay hindi naman mag-earn ng ganun yung mga content natin if it weren't for all of your support and all of your help in growing our YouTube channel, and in sharing all of our content on various social media platforms. And this won't be possible if our community here in Sashes&Scripts is not strong, is not a intelligent community where we can exchange ideas together. So I'm really very grateful for that. So for everyone who are here, thank you very much for allowing me to show you the wins that we have, and all of this is made possible because of your support, of your trust. So hindi lalaki yung community natin kung hindi kayo participative, kung hindi kayo nagre-reciprocate ng trust, kung hindi kayo nagre-reciprocate ng mga comments, ng inyong mga opinions in our various social media platforms. So it really is a year of blessing, despite all of despite all of the difficulties, the challenges, the difficult lessons that we have to learn in this past year. It has been made possible. It has been made easy because of your support. So maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. This is why we are encouraged, to do this more often, to do and try and really na magpursige na mabigyan kayo ng quality content and not just fluff content that you can find everywhere else. So thank you very much for your support. Okay? Okay. Tiger B 0719 is here. Sabi niya, congrats sa new phone. Maganda quality and no noise at all. Thank God. I'm hoping that in the future, mas magamit ko siya on a regular basis yung phone na to in terms of doing our live streams, because if the quality, the sound quality is crisp and really very good on your end, then there's no reason for me na tawag ito na magpalit ng phone. Okay. Wilbert Herrera, sabi niya, it's been a while, smiley face. Well, Wilbert, welcome back to our channel. I do hope that you'll enjoy our live stream discussion for today, and sana meron kang mapulutang bagong information in our live stream. Iris here, sabi niya, Agree, Sir Jason. Thank you for this live kasi I feel like I'm attending a class on fashion. Thank you very much as well. I try as much as possible, as I said, na to keep on giving you information in every live stream that we have, so that there is an incentive for you to join the discussion, to join the te-a-te, the communication and back and forth of sharing of opinions in our channel. Okay? So, sige. Sa kada daldal ko, it's 25 minutes na pala akong nagdadaldal dito. So I'm I'm thankful for allowing for you guys for allowing me na magdadaldal ng ganyan katagal. So before pala we start, may I invite everyone to please leave a thumbs up in our live stream bago tayo magpatuloy sa ating discussion for this evening. Okay. So I guess we have to address the elephant in the room. Kasi, I'm sure you're quite familiar with my post regarding the Love Gala auction of former Miss Universe and now influencer Pia Wurtzbach doon sa kanyang auction ng mga pieces. And looking at the prices ng kanyang mga what do you call this, kanyang mga items, medyo, hindi naman medyo, I think I ruffled some feathers when I asked the question that everybody, or some fans, are having in their heads. And when I asked, are the prices a little bit too steep, a bit overpriced? I think that was the word that I used on my set card on Facebook and Instagram. I think a lot of the fans got offended. I think that's the right word. I think there's a lot of fans, pageant fans, that got offended with that question. But I think that was a valid question coming from me, from anyone else for that matter, because when I was looking back at previous auctions of other beauty queens, there was kind of like a huge discrepancy in the prices. Okay, so let's take for example yung ipinost ko earlier today with Catriona Gray. When she auctioned her Miss Universe pin, her candidate pin at Miss Universe 2018, she only had it pegged at around 20,000 pesos. I remember that the costs, or rather, when I was in Bangkok, the Miss Universe pin was being sold at around 1,000 to 2,000 baht, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember it because when I wanted to buy, that commemorative pin for as a souvenir for Miss Universe 2018, it was sold out. Kasi ang haba ng pila, the line for queuing to buy the merch, because the merch were really good. I remember during Catriona's time, there was the Galaxy scarf that was being sold, the pin as well, the Miss Universe pin, and there's one more commemorative item that I forgot which one, but the two things that I remember was the scarf and the Galaxy scarf. I'm sure you know the Galaxy print on the capes that the candidates wore during the swimsuit competition. Ganun na ganun yung print ng Galaxy scarf ng Miss Universe 2018. And then of course the pin, which is similar, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's exactly the same as the candidate pins of the Miss Universe reps that year. So when I lined for that souvenirs, it was already sold out. So medyo heartbroken, but na-compensate naman yon when Catriona won that night. So when Catriona in 2020 wanted to help the government, wanted to help the private sector to increase testing, if I'm not mistaken. Yun yung aim nung pag-auction ni Catriona ng kanyang Miss Universe candidate pin, as well as her Karen Millen crystal encrusted na shoes. I remember na there was, a huge clamor for that. Because the bid had 12 na mga bids. That was the announced bid. Hindi ito yung final na bid, because it could have been higher than the final publicized na bid. So from 20,000 yung pin, it was because there is a transparent na meter that would expose yung current bid, so that anyone who has interest with that would probably buy it for themselves. So, naka-12 na bid, nagkaroon ng 12 bidders rather, at the minimum, doon sa kanyang pin that from 20,000 na initial bid, umabot ng around 250,000 pesos yung final bid na publicized. And I'm sure that was not the final bid. It is more likely that it was sold for more than 250,000 if in case na may 13th person na nagbid for that item. So it is possible na at the minimum, Catriona Gray's Miss Universe pin was sold at the minimum 250,000. Okay? And then, in 2019, when, I think it was 11 or 10 fishermen were attacked by the Chinese Coast Guard at the West Philippine Sea, nagkaroon ng clamor na sana suportahan ng gobyerno yung mga farmers, yung mga fishermen natin, to be able to replace their boats para magkaroon ulit sila ng kabuhayan, because because if I'm not mistaken, it was in the news that the Chinese Coast Guards, capsized and destroyed some of the boats nung ating mga kababayan na mangingisda. So, Miss International, the very first Miss International under the Binibining Pilipinas umbrella, Aurora P. Juan, suggested to donate her, Miss International na tiara for to use as seed money to help yung mga farmers na nawala ng kabuhayan. Okay? So, it was a bold move because, one, the tiara of Aurora Picuan is a very rare item. Okay, what do I mean by it's a very rare item? Sir, meron naman sigurong tiara na napanalunan si Bea, si Melanie, si Kylie, si Gemma Cruz, and Lara. So let's debunk muna yung mga ito. Kasi when Gemma Cruz won, hindi pa sponsor ng Miss International ang Mikimoto. I think it was around 1968 that they started, or 68 or 67, that Mikimoto started to craft the crowns for the Miss International na pageant. It was actually Aurora P. Juan who was the first Filipina to receive a special tiara from Mikimoto. Okay. So, the other Filipina who received a Mikimoto tiara was, of course, Melanie Marquez, because it was still under Mikimoto. However, at around 2014 or 2000, around 2008 to 2014, it was not Mikimoto who was the crown makers for the winners during those years. Google search nyo na lang if the years might be a little bit erroneous. But during the time of Lara, so that's around 2005, at least to around 2014, Estelle Asme, Estelle Asme is the crown jeweler. And dito nyo makikita yung difference in design because the design ng Mikimoto crown na Miss International are all pearls. With the crown design ng Miss International under Estelle Asme, ito yung may lion and may kabayo, may heraldry na tawag ito na symbols in the crown. So, the tiaras that Bea and Lara received are actually Estelle Asme na crown jewelers. Okay, so it's not Mikimoto. When they discontinued the tradition of giving the tiara to its winners in around 20, I think it was around 2014. That was the last year na they actually gave out those tiara. The winners mula Edimar Martinez until now no longer receive their own personal tiara as far as I know. Okay, so instead, they were given the cash price equivalent, if I'm not mistaken. So, yung gold na version nung runner-up tiaras na suot-suot ni Edimar was actually the tiara ni Miss International 2010. Suddenly, I forgot her name. So, the only Filipinas who actually had tiaras ng Mikimoto is actually Aurora Pijuan and Melanie Marquez. But unfortunately, Melanie Marquez, in an interview, if I'm not mistaken, with Ricky Lo several years back, sinabi niya na yung kanyang Miss International tiara, pinatunaw niya ito to create a set of different, mga pearl jewelries. May hikaw, may kwintas that I think she mentioned. So it means that the only Mikimoto na tiara, Miss International tiara in existence is that of Aurora Pijuan. Okay? So, yun yung how to say this, yun yung what we know for a fact, that only Aurora Pijuan is the only Filipina na still possesses her Mikimoto na Miss International na tiara. So, that in itself lends rarity doon sa auction piece na yon ni Aurora Pijuan. Because in around 2014, 2015 na period, Mikimoto has officially severed knots with pageantry. So they don't want to be remembered as the crown makers of the Mikimoto Miss Universe Phoenix Crown or the Miss International Pearl Crown. And this is the reason why we probably will not be seeing any new na mga tiaras coming from Mikimoto themselves. So, isa yun sa mga brand decisions that Mikimoto had to move towards to, because ayaw nila na matali forever sa pageantry. They want to be known as a brand for fashion, a fashion brand, a jewelry brand. And I think that there's there's nothing wrong with that, because each brand do not want to be stereotyped on something. Much like actors na ayaw na ma-stereotype in comedic roles. That is why in Hollywood, you can see, someone like Robin Williams who can juggle the very demanding na comedic timing na career, comedic performances versus his, serious na mga dramatic na mga roles. So I think that's fair to Mikimoto na ayaw nila na maging ganun na lang ang tingin, hanggang pageants na lang ang tingin ng mga tao sa brand nila. So, I think that was a smart decision for Mikimoto, because they don't want to be typecasted. So, the same thing, with other other occupations. So, now we now can see why Aurora Pijuan's tiara is very valuable. Because one, it is rare. Two, the only other winners na pwede mong makitaan ng tawag ito ng Mikimoto na pearl tiara are the winners between 1970 to 1970 to around to early 2000s. So, oh no, ang Estelle Asme, they started it around 1999 or around 2000. So, from 1998 down to 1970. So, sila lang ang makikitaan mo ng Mikimoto na pearl tiara. Unfortunately for us, we only had two winners during those years, Aurora and Melanie. And yung kay Melanie, tulad ng nabanggit ko, pinatunaw niya for the jewelry set. So this means that typically, ideally, it means realistically that you only have Aurora as the remaining one here in the Philippines. Pwede kang pumunta sa ibang bansa. Norway has at least one. Spain at least maybe one as well. Venezuela, I think they have one with Nina Cecilia. They have one with Consuela Adler. I think those are the only two girls na tawag ito na nanalong Miss International during the Mikimoto era ng MI, because the other girls were during the Estelle Asme. So which means that nag-iisa lang talaga dito sa Pilipinas yung tiara ni Aurora Pijuan. And for her to have it, initial bid at around 60,000 pesos was kind of a low in my opinion. Masyadong mababa yung 60,000 na initial bid. However, thankfully, the government, extended help to the farmers. So Aurora pulled out her, her tiara from the auction. So safe pa rin ang tiara. It's still, I assume, is still with her. So and also I remember in an article, nabanggit doon na Aurora was hoping na sana kahit man lang umabot ng around 250 to 500,000 yung 500,000 pesos yung makapagbid, yung taas ng makapagbid dun sa dun sa crown niya, dun sa tiara niya, para matulungan niya yung mga farmers. So what does this tell us? It tells us that there should be someone who does valuation on these pageant items so that hindi siya ma-undervalue or ma-overvalue when you create its first bid. Because if you are going to, let's say, auction a Ming vase, there has to be an authentication na mangyari first. So, what does it mean, authentication? There is a third party, typically, a third party who is not being employed by the auction house or by the auctioneer to evaluate the authenticity of the actual na item. So, hindi ka magbebenta ng replica pa lang pala ito na Picasso or replica lang pala ito na Ming vase. So this is, one of the things that a lot of fans have no idea about. Akala nila na, gusto mo mag-auction ng mga gamit mo, sige, ipa-auction mo, ikaw na bahalang maglagay ng presyo. Because aside from authentication, there is also a valuation that needs to be included. What do we mean valuation? It means that a third-party authority, a third-party company or personnel would evaluate the price of the item. Kasi kung it is chipped, it is not of 100, it's no longer at its mint condition, babawasan niya yung valuation ng item na yon. And usually, siya yung magsasabi na, this can only retail, you can only sell this for between 50,000 to 100,000 US dollars. So, it is the evaluator who will give an estimate on the price range of the item. And doon sa price range na yon, doon kukuha si auction house ng let's start the bid on this na price range. And then during the bidding process, ang hope nila is ma-leverage yung interest, yung rarity ng item, yung authenticity ng item, yung what do you call this, yung history ng item, so that yung mga bidders would compete with a higher bid against each other. So that is the auction na nakikita ng karamihan. Of course, there are some items na ito na mataas ang initial bid. This is common for items that have historical value. Of course, papasok na dyan yung mga works ni na Salvador Dali, ni na Pablo Picasso, ni na Andy Warhol, because there is a limited supply of their works. Kasi they're no longer alive. And usually, when artists are no longer alive, nag-i-stop yung supply. And therefore, based on our understanding of supply and demand, if there is a limited supply, the demand goes high. So, the higher the demand, the higher the price point. So, now we understand yung how this works. Okay? So, this is the reason why mga items that are are out for bidding, may authentication and merong valuation. So yun yung pinupuntilya ko kasi we should know yung initial bid, kung masyado ba siyang mataas or masyado ba siyang mababa, dahil kung masyadong mababa, then ma-undervalue naman yung yung item na yon. So, kung masyado namang mataas, baka naman yung mga tao na gustong bumili will get turned off because they might think that the value that is being asked of is not commensurate to the actual value of the price of the item. Especially, buhay pa si Michael Cinco, buhay pa si Albert Andrada, buhay pa si Francis Libiran, buhay pa si Mark Baumgartner. So they can create replicas. They can recreate mga items based on the designs that was on auction. So yun yung gusto kong sanang naintindihan ng karamihan, because not everyone is really knowledgeable on the bidding process, not knowledgeable on the auction process. They don't understand that there is a valuation that has to go first, that has to come first. And I think yun yung hindi rin naintindihan ng mga ibang mga pageant pages and mga pageant fans na ito na naman si bakla, nambubuli na naman. Girl, isipin nyo naman, di ba? Commensurate ba nga ba yung mga presyo na ito doon sa hinihingi nyong kapalit na pera? So, I was just asking that. Because, kung ang item na 20,000 lang initial bid na tawag nito, na commemorative pin ng Miss Universe 2018 was able to be sold at around 250,000, essentially $250,000 pesos, then it means that yung mababa na initial bid na yon umaakyat, tumataas. So that is what I meant about finding value doon sa item. Kaya nga may valuation na nauna eh. Because if people find value on that item, dahil si Catriona yan eh, hindi ka na magkakaroon ng panibagong Catriona, hindi ka na magkakaroon ng isa pang Miss Universe pin na galing kay Catriona, unless it's her, I don't know, Miss Universe pin na mismo na ginagamit niya with her Miss Universe sash, then saka magkakaroon ng pwede nating ibaba pa yung initial bid. But because tag-iisa lang yan at inilagay ni Kat at a very low accessible na price yung commemorative pin na yon, mga tao na mismo because of the interest on Catriona, umakyat ng umakyat hanggang naging 250,000 pesos yung value ng item na yon. So the value is not created by the people na tawag ito na na nagmamasid lang. The value has to be based on a valuation, initial valuation ng mga tao, and then you're hoping that because of the association with Catriona, mag-i-increase yung value na yon into higher. And that's what we saw with her commemorative pin. Okay? So yun yung gusto kong ipunto na if the team ni Pia started with a accessible na price point, a price point that maybe at around 250,000 yung na price point for some of the gowns, baka siguro yun mas marami pang kakagat. And unfortunately, with the auction ng mga items ni Pia, hindi mo nakikita, hindi mo natatrack yung progress. Hindi mo nakikita kung umaangat ba yung mga nagbibid or it stops there. And naghihintay na lang ng isa o dalawang tao na I can afford that, I'm gonna buy that, and then that's it. Sold out na yung item. So yun sana yung tawag ito, i-explain ng tawag ito okay, yun yung gusto kong i-explain para maintindihan ng karamihan that there should have been transparency in the valuation and authentication na process. Okay? Kasi the auction process is not a process that everyone is familiar with. Hindi lahat ng tao naiintindihan ng proseso na to. So, I understand that not a lot of people actually understand yung how did you come up with that amount for your initial bid. Okay? So, there. I think sana mas naintindihan ng karamihan, mas naintindihan natin yung punto de vista where I'm coming from asking that question. Okay? So, let's start some comments. Kasi marami rin na palang nag-comment dito. Okay? Sorry, madaldal ako. You know that. And I'm sorry kung sa haba-haba kong mag-explain. Minsan nga yung mga students kasi nasabi nila na parang sir, ang haba-haba ng sinabi. Pero that is on my part because I want that you understand, people understand yung nuances ng mga sinasabi ko, even the smallest na na detail, kung kaya kong isiksik sa explanation so that it's clear, it's crystal clear for everyone, gagawin ko yan. Because it is something that I feel I need to make clear as an educator. Hindi pwedeng half understood lang ng mga students ko yung sinasabi ko. The same thing that when I explain to you guys, ayoko naman na kalahati lang ang naiintindihan nyo and the rest parang gone with the wind na. It cannot be like that. I want as much as possible na 100, even 90% na comprehension and retention of what is said ang maiwan sa inyo. Kasi sa akin, if I did 90%, I did my part. That 10%, pwedeng na-distract lang ang karamihan kaya hindi naintindihan yung 10% na yun. So there. Let's start siguro with the comments before we go on to the next the next section ng ating live stream. Okay. Kipi Boreche. Sabi niya, hi Sir Jason. Since malapit ang heart mo sa Indonesia, do you think they will become the next powerhouse in Asia at mauna pa sila ang Thailand sa pagiging Okay. Kipi Boreche. One of the things that you have to understand about Indonesia is that they are a wealthy country. They are wealthier than the Philippines. That I can attest to because having lived there, kaya nilang magwaldas ng pera. Like it's nothing. And the difference between Filipinos and Indonesians is that the real uh, old world, old money rich there, they're not afraid to showcase their wealth. So, in that end, this is the reason why you would see yung Vone World na partnership ni Heart Evangelista went really well in Indonesia. Last that I heard, parang may mga items na sila doon sa mga bags that they partnered with Heart is already sold out. But then again, hindi rin kasi matawag ito, hindi rin kasi matawag ito, mabunganga ang mga Indonesians when it comes to their wealth. They would rather show it rather than talk about it. That's one of the things that I've learned about Indonesians. Now, with regards to Indonesia and pageantry, I don't think that Indonesia has found that formula that would make them the next powerhouse of Asia. I think Thailand is more likely to achieve that. I think that Thailand, being a more multicultural, more melting pot na culture like the Philippines, they are more likely to find mga possible na mga girls that would appeal to the international tastes of pageants. So, I am more likely to think that Thailand is closer to inching their next next Miss Universe crown in the next 5 years. So there. Ira, sabi niya, wow, which makes the crown of Aurora P1 more valuable. Yes, simply because one, hindi ka na makakakita ng ibang tiara na yon dito sa Pilipinas or anywhere else in this archipelago of ours. And two, it's very difficult to have it replicated, especially that now the Mickey Moto brand really does not want to be associated with pageantry anymore. Okay? Wilbert Herrera says, sayang naman yung kay Melanie. How much did Aurora's tiara fetch in the auction? Okay, Wilbert, with regards to Aurora's tiara, it did not continue, it did not push through. So we would not know how much it would it would be auctioned for. But with the rarity of the piece, with the history of the piece, I think baka payat pa yung yung ine-expect niya na 500,000 na sana umabat man lang daw ng 500,000 yung mapagbidan doon sa tiara niya. Continuing dito sa comment ni Wilbert, sabi niya it's much more than 500k by now for the sentimental value and with how pageant industry has grown in recent years. I agree. Baka nga aabot pa siya ng 1,000,000 especially if the tiara is 100% still intact. Kung I think if it's silver, konting polish lang, I think mapapakinang ulit pa yung yung tiara na yon. So I do hope na na if Aurora is open to it, to have it exhibited na lang siguro in a museum, so that people would get to appreciate the item more. Okay? Tiger B 0719, at last, queens are doing something remarkable whilst nawalan ng saysay ang pageants. Do they get a cut or commission? Especially Pia for her prized possession auction for Love Yourself org? I have no idea. What I know is that yung kay Catriona, 100% all the proceeds is going to the charity. So, yun ang yun ang pagkakaalam ko doon sa K-Cat. With the ones with Love Yourself or I have no idea kung may cut ang mga designers, kung may cut pa si Tia or may cut pa ang ibang mga tao doon sa mapagbebentahan ng mga items. Daniela Alejandra Lee, sabi niya, how are you? I don't know if I'm able to get an item from someone who passed away. Baka multuhin ako now. Wait, LOL. Siguro naman hindi. I think it's just that, it's more than the, more than the urban legend na baka may naka-attach na kaluluwa on those items. I think it's the fact that we think of it as a charitable na act from these girls, from these queens, and that they are, hopefully, they are giving it 100% without expecting anything in return back. Okay? Sabi ni Johnny B. Okay, mahaba-haba yung sabi niya. Hi, Jason. I think some pageant fans got triggered because any statement you say, whether valid or not, reads as a shade after what has been written and said before. Disclosure, I'm not a pageant fan, not a Pia or Heart fan. I just know about the feud as I cannot escape the SOCMED post on that topic. Again, whether the intent is good, whether the intent is, is shady, what we need to think of is the question valid? Is the observation valid? Because if there are, fans who are saying na they feel that it is overly priced too high, then hindi lang ako yung may opinion na ganon. Ibig sabihin, there are others who share my opinion as well. Daniela Alejandra Lee, sabi niya, maluloko kapag nagsalita yung gown niya ang parabin niya sa akin. Spanish pa, sis, sigaw ako, girl. Oh my God, no. Si. Hindi, diba? Okay, sabi ni Ira, Pia's gown in the auction was only a replica. A gown would not cost that much. Yun din yung gusto kong maliwanagan tayo. Why are you going to auction something that is just a replica? And I know for sure, because of the sentimental value of the original gown, hindi naman ibebenta yun ni Albert Andrada. Not unless it is, 20 years in the future, where mas malaki na yung value, mas mataas na yung value ng gown na yon. I don't think that he would be in his right mind to auction it as early as now. 10 years is actually just still to, not even 10 years nga eh. Kasi 2015 nanalo si Pia, December pa. So wala pang 10 years yung gown. And I don't know, maybe it's just, for me kasi, there is this quote in fashion that anything that is 10 years old is tacky. Anything that's 20 years old has charm. Anything that's 50 years old is vintage, and therefore you must buy. So maybe I'm that kind of mindset. That maybe pahinugin pa. Make it maybe 20 years, and then saka magkakaroon ng mas mataas na value yung item na yon. In fact, I would think of na baka mas mataas pa yung interest doon sa national costume na ginamit niya during Binibining Pilipinas, or during during Miss Universe, than the gown itself, because that has ties with culture and tradition. But then again, that's just me. Sabi ni Daniela Alejandra Lee, okay lang. Ang galing mo nga mag-explain, in fairness. Promise, you have the skills of doing. Ang dami lang mga syongang Pinoy minsan. Sabi ni Ira, guys, don't forget to click the thumbs up button. Sabi ni Kawaii Tail, hi, I am new here. Hello and welcome to our channel. Wilbert Herrera says, auctioning a replica means you're selling a fake item. That's how I see it. Valid naman din yung sinabi ni Wilbert Herrera. Daniela Alejandra Lee, naloka sa akin si Jess. How's your friend? Namiss ko yun, nasa pizza restaurant kayo. I'm fine with replication and moderation. I don't see any problem at all. I have a crazy idea to discuss later with Mark. Hopefully he's free after Christmas, because I want to do a special on something na related sa topic natin mamaya in a bit. Sabi ni Ira, Sir Jason, di ba may issue pa dun sa design ng blue gown niya? that it's somehow similar to Keke Palmer's gown in an award show. Uh, yeah, and I kinda remember that. Pati din yung gown kasi ni Miss Australia nung 2014, yung bottom na part, parang similar din daw. So, I kinda had to review that again. Um, so there. Let's now talk about the main topic for this live stream, and that's about the influencer marketing, because nowadays after natin na umpisahan yung discussion about the feud between Pia and Hart, early as March pa of this year, suddenly we saw a boom ng mga influencers in the Paris Fashion Week, in the Milan Fashion Week, over the course of the past year. Dati-rate, ang nakikita lang natin was Heart Evangelista at the Fashion Weeks, and now we have names like Kelsey Merritt, we have seen Kylie Versosa, we have seen Zoe Santiago, Binibining Pilipinas candidate from Manila in 2021. From 2022 rather. 2022 ba? Hindi, 2023. Sorry. Nagkamali lang. And then we also seen Michelle D there. We've seen Max Collins. We've seen Nicole Borromeo. So let's break down yung growth nung mga ng influencer marketing this year. Earlier this year, I mentioned that influencer marketing is going to be a huge thing, and brands will be investing with a lot of influencer marketing, influencers this year in order to get the eyeballs that they want. This year, we've seen a lot of growth in that area. That's why we've seen more and more mga Filipinas and more mga Southeast Asian influencers penetrating the international na mga fashion weeks. And I think it's about time that we discuss some of these ladies and what do they bring into the table. Okay? So, first and foremost, unahin natin si Kelsey Merritt, because I think she is the face that could launch 1,000 ships. She is the girl that kapag sumali yan ng Miss Universe Philippines, tataob lahat ng mga ng mga bangka ng mga ibang mga ng mga ibang mga local franchises natin, because babangga kayo sa pader kapag si Kelsey ang sumali sa Miss Universe Philippines. However, do we feel that it is right for her brand to join pageants? Honestly, personally, I think no. It will not help her at all if she joined pageants, because she has now the career that any pageant girl would die for, or maybe even kill for, because Kelsey is in that sweet spot where she's not very Filipina based, but she's also international based. Hindi siya yung market niya is not just influencing in the Philippines, but more of the international na stage. And I think she is the best when it comes to her international presence, because for me, Kelsey has that New York vibes na I can actually say that Kelsey would be more effective in New York, in Paris, in Milan, over here in the Philippines. Dahil yung beauty niya, the way that she dresses up, the way that she is put together, I think it's much more very old rich New York na crowd. More like Upper East Side, if you're familiar with the terminologies in Gossip Girl, the Serena van der Woodsen and the Blair Waldorf na era. And I think that is something that I appreciate with Kelsey, kasi hindi siya lumalaban or hindi siya lumalaro doon sa local na Filipino fashion scene, but rather her market is more on the international international na mga fashion weeks. And this makes me feel like she is in the right market to be based in New York for her, influencer career, because that is where I think she is most effective in. And knowing that Kelsey was able to penetrate the Paris Fashion Week with a seat in Chanel, a seat in Hermes, front row pa yon, tells me that step down masyado for her to join pageants. And I am hoping that she does not really think of doing pageants anymore at this stage, because she's already in a position where she can achieve more internationally rather than patunayan niya ang sarili niya at the Philippine arena. Wala na siyang kinakailangang patunayan dito sa Pilipinas. I think the best trajectory for her is to pursue her influencer and modeling career in the US and in Europe, and make a name for her in that space, because I think here in the Philippines it's too crowded. Masyado ng maraming pageants, masyado ng maraming pageant girls. It's too huge of a name for Kelsey na sumausaw pa sa local pageant scene. So, that's for me. And I think also with Renz Pangilinan and her team, in Fashion Week, she is in good hands. And I think she's going to be a better, she's better off rather, pursuing her international career rather than, setting up shop again here in the Philippines. It's like, meron ka nang naipundar sa US, bakit mo i-discarril yun to have another go here in the Philippines? Parang you're already international, go expand there. Yun lang sa akin. Then let's talk about Kylie Versosa, because I think among all the pageant girls na nag-shift ng careers after their pageant career is over, it is Kylie Versosa that actually has the most smooth na transition from beauty queen to actress to influencer to entrepreneur. Because when you look at the trajectory ng career ni Kylie, hindi lang siya yung effective na na actress, but she's also a very smart entrepreneur with yung Sola Body na brand niya. And looking at Kylie, especially with oh God, I forgot the movie that she had with, was it Albert Martinez? And kaya niyang nakipagsabayan sa mga veterano na mga actors in the Philippine industry, and really, not be intimidated acting opposite, Filipino greats in acting, tells you that this girl not only has talent but also has a very smart na planning of her career after her stint in pageants. She can still pursue her acting career here in the Philippines. She can still continue her Sola body na brand here in the Philippines. She can still continue her participation in Cannes Film Festival, and then still be able to go at Paris Fashion Weeks with a very select, very curated brands that she goes into, she watches, and then she patronizes, and still be Kylie Versosa, not the Miss International from 2016, but rather Kylie Versosa, the actress, the model, the influencer, the entrepreneur. So, this is what I like about Kylie. Hindi natali yung kanyang identity with pageantry. She was able to evolve and transition. And I think among the girls during that time, it was actually Maxine Medina and Kylie Versosa who were really very smooth, very successful in building for themselves a acting career. I remember si Maxine, nagkaroon pa yan ng mga shows in Channel 7, if I'm not mistaken. Meron siyang Oh, I forgot. Meron siyang parang afternoon teleserye with Gabby Concepcion and Sanya Lopez, if I'm not mistaken, where she really went, toe to toe with some of the veterans in the industry. Same thing with Kylie. She is able to establish for herself, a name in the industry. And when you look at her personal style for her fashion influencing na part, especially if you look at her social media, you can see that Kylie has a very distinct, very Kylie Versosa na image. She has that very sultry, very sweet na attack on fashion, na kaya niyang magpaka-sultry, magpaka-sexy without looking, without looking like a mistress. Kaya niyang itawid yung very fine line between what is considered a little bit, street slutty na look versus the more sophisticated na sultry na look. And I think that is where Kylie is very successful in. Pag magsuot siya ng something sweet, there is still that hint of sexiness that is very Kylie Versosa. If she tries on very seductive, very daring na mga looks, she's able to pull it off because she has, that very classy vibe on her as well. So she is able to balance yung very, kumbaga, if there is a third brand between what Anna Winter said, that Versace dresses the mistress, Armani dresses the wife. She is in the middle. It's not too very sophisticated. It's not too very sexy. It's right just in the middle. Perfect balance between class and very sultry, very sexy na image. And I think that is why it makes sense that Kylie, when she attends Fashion Week in Paris, she is very picky with the brands that she visits, that she sits in the front row in, because the image aligns well with her and her personal style, and then with her Sola Body na brand. So it makes sense. In fact, if there is a influencer here in the Philippines that I felt would have been perfect front row guest at, let's say, the Victoria's Secret na fashion show, it would have been Kylie. Kasi siya yung perfect yung kanyang personal style versus her kanyang entrepreneurial na brand doon sa doon sa image ng Victoria's Secret. So I think, we have to pay more attention with Kylie because among the Binibining Pilipinas alums, I can honestly say that Kylie is perfectly in the very niche na market when it comes to her personal style. So kudos to her, and I hope more success for her in the future. The mere fact that when she goes to Fashion Week, she is her stylist, she is her own hair and makeup na gumagawa ng kanyang mga looks. I give mad respect for that because nowadays influencers, when they go to fashion weeks, they have a huge team behind them to help them with their looks. With Kylie, kaya niyang gawin yon mag-isa. So mad respects for that lady for what she's doing in fashion weeks. Now, let's talk naman about Catriona Gray because Catriona does not do fashion weeks, which I kinda I kinda feel like it's a missed opportunity, but it makes sense for her brand. If you're not familiar, not all influencers get paid to go inside fashion weeks and the shows. Okay, let's pause that. Okay. Kasi for sure, marami na naman ang how to say, mag-aalburuto, for the lack of a better word, doon sa sinabi ko. Hindi lahat ng mga nagpupunta ng Fashion Week, binabayaran sila ng brands. Okay, let's be clear on that. Not every influencer gets to be paid by the brands that they visit or the brands that they watch. Kung meron ngang fashion influencer na Pinay na pinalaya sa front row because she was not supposed to sit in the front row, and that seat was reserved for a paying client. This goes to tell you how low in the pecking order is ang mga influencers. Clients ang mauuna. Clients yung binibigyan ng priority over influencers. Not unless you're an influencer like let's say Anne Hathaway, na celebrity influencer, na actress, na Oscar winner. That's probably the only reason that they will put you in the front row. But if you are if you are fairly new to the game, they're not gonna give you the front row seat ng basta-basta. Okay? So let's be clear on that. Now, what I appreciate about Catriona is that her, influencing career is very much calculated. Hindi siya yung basta-bastang bira na lang ng bira with any brand partnerships. And I think this also goes back to the fact that when Catriona was still a model, when she was in her 20s, in her late teens to early 20s, naikwento sa akin na na si Catriona, bago siya pipirma ng bawat kontrata niya, iniisa-isa niya yung fine print. She reads the fine print to make sure that she knows the entirety of the contract, na pagbalibaligtarin man yung yung laman ng contract, naiintindihan niya kung ano ang laman nun. And this is the reason why she takes, ownership on every thing that she does, whether it's in pageantry, whether it's the brands that she works with. It really makes sense, the things that she does. And if you look at the brands that Catriona is endorsing or influencing, does influencing marketing on, you would see that it is not just all fashion. Catriona has a very democratic, for the lack of a better word, a democratic assortment of brands that she endorses, that she does influencing work for. And you can see she has Cetaphil, she has H&M, which is a very, very mid-tier na brand. It's not high up in the luxury sector. It's not so low down in the mass market na sector. It is just somewhere in between. So Cetaphil, which you have of course H&M. Then she has Dior Beauty. Now she has NARS. She has what do you call this? She has endorsements in other in other sectors as well, where she is a NCCA, National Commission for the Culture and Arts na ambassador. She is also the ambassador and spokesperson for Smile Train, and she just got an award earlier this month for being a very impactful na ambassador for Smile Train. She also does, charity work for Love Yourself Philippines and Young Focus. So in terms of the brands that she handles, it is a very democratic, very wide yung range. And this is why Catriona, I cannot categorically call her as a fashion influencer because her brands are very spread out. And what I like about Catriona is that the brands that she partners with don't compete with other brands ng ibang mga fashion influencers. And this is the reason why it makes sense to see Catriona for Dior Beauty, and then for Dior Fashion, you have Heart Evangelista. So there is like a symbiosis with the ecosystem of brands that Catriona endorses versus the other more established na mga fashion influencers here in the Philippines. So that what makes me be appreciative of Catriona's influencing career. Hindi siya umaaway sa ibang mga influencer, hindi siya yung tipong nang aagaw ng space from other influencers, but she essentially finds a niche market, and then doon siya nagme-make ng killing in terms of the brands that she partners with. So that is what makes me really impressed with Catriona, because there is this podcast episode where may isang brand or may isang entrepreneur na gusto siyang ipag-compete with another, endorser, for tawag ito for let's say for the endorsement or whatever. So instead of saying yes to that, she stuck to her values na sinabi niya na tapos na siya dun sa mga panahon na gusto niyang mag-compete. And I think that is, something na is reflective of her value as a person, her values as a beauty queen as well. Dahil doon mo makikita yung ayaw niyang makaapak ng ibang tao. And I think that is what makes me, very appreciative of her. And that is also the reason why nung panahon na may mga nang-aalipos na sa kanya, I was ready to help her team to dispel mga misinformation and disinformation against her. So, that is why I think among the influencers this that nagsisulputan this year, she will be one of, or she is one of the 5 girls na for 2025 talagang bibigyan ko ng pansin, pagtutuunan ko ng pansin. The next girl that I want to include in this discussion is Zoe Santiago. She is fairly new. She just started, I think, just a couple of fashion weeks ago with her, influencer na career. And nung nakakausap ko si Zoe earlier this year, she keeps on stressing yung kanyang vision when it comes to fashion. And what struck me was that she was very candid and very honest kung bakit mo ginagawa to. And she says that because this is fantasy. This is her fantasy. And it kind of gives me, a very clear trajectory on what her career is going to be. Dahil if a lot of girls, a lot of women, when they were girls, when they were young, would dream up fashion scenarios, would dream up fantasies that they are a princess, that they are somebody else. They dream up, mga scenarios that they fantasize that they are a different persona or a different personality, and always na nakatali doon sa fantasy na yon is yung fashion associated with that kind of career or that kind of personality or persona. And I think with the very honest answer ni Zoe when she told me na she wanted to explore fashion as a fantasy, as her fantasy, it kind of gave me, a appreciation that she is treating this as a play box, as a tawag nito, hindi masyadong seryoso yung attack niya when it comes to fashion influencing. That she's there to live out her own fantasies. And this is why, for me, among the new girls in Fashion Week, Zoe Santiago is someone to look out for in 2025 because she is quintessentially the everyday girl that you see growing up. She is everybody's childhood girl, grew up and now living in a fantasy world where she uses fashion to play out scenarios. And I kind of love the idea because fashion is a fantasy, and a lot of people don't realize that fashion sometimes is hyper realism, and it is hyper realism that is brought out from wild imaginations of designers, the creative directors. That is why if you look at the trajectory of all the works of, let's say, Alexander McQueen, this all plays into her childhood and his imagination on what fashion is about. And if you look at the imagination of John Galliano and what he did for the House of Dior, in terms of imagination, he was able to brought up the play, the story behind every outfit in his collection. I remember that during when I was still in school in UP as a as a fashion student, I remember that um, there was this interview with John Galliano when he did um, the Opera House fashion show for couture, and yeah, he mentioned Marquesa Casati, which is a very prominent early 19th century early 20th century, earlier 20th century na personality who would throw this masquerade balls. And that is what she did, what John Galliano did in his Paris Opera House couture collection for Dior, where he played out the same fantasy of what if the Marquesa Casati, threw a ball at the Paris Opera House with all the resplendent na tawag ito na mga outfits for Dior couture. And I remember, Diana Ross was speechless when she saw the collection, and the only thing that she was able to say was that it was exquisite. Tells us something about the fantasy of fashion. And I think if you're playing that angle, you see fashion as a sort of fantasy, as a sort of play, then you would have a fun, a fun stay at fashion weeks, because hindi siya competition sa'yo, but it is a way to have fun, a way to play, and I think that is one of the things that makes it makes it interesting na subaybayan si Zoe sa kanyang influencer career. Next, let's close it down with the biggest name in fashion, and that's of course Heart Evangelista. Hindi maikakaila that Heart Evangelista is the pioneer. Kung walang heart, hindi tayo magkakaroon ng P Awards back at Fashion Week, hindi tayo magkakaroon ng mga tawag ito, ng mga sumunod sa yapak niya. And I think we should all be appreciative of the hard work that Heart Evangelista has placed and put in behalf of every Filipino in the fashion industry, because nakilala tayo because of her. And I think one of the biggest wins of Heart Evangelista this year is the fact that she was able to show who she really is, not only in her World na show, but also in the brands that she is working with. The mere fact that this last few months, this November and December, she flexed her fashion muscle. We've seen her endorse the Angel Nova na perfume, the Dolce and Gabbana Intense na tawag ito, na mga perfumes. We've seen her having a moment with fashion houses like Cartier and Carolina Herrera and a gamut of other brands. Meron siyang Singapore, meron siyang Malaysia, meron siyang Indonesia na mga travels in just a matter of 3 months, from October, November, December, shows the power that she has on fashion. And the mere fact that kahit yung mga Indonesians are appreciative of her partnership with Von World. The mere fact na may mga bags nang nasosold out because of her shows yung capacity niya to move merchandise. And not only that, ilang beses niya tayong flinexan in terms of sold out sold out ang Angel Nova na perfume, sold out ang tawag nito, ang Pat McGrath na lip tint, sold out yung mga tawag ito, yung mga bags that she endorses. So it gives us, a good sense of this is who and what an influencer is all about. And the mere fact na bugbog yung kanyang schedule with travels, endorsements, public appearances, talks, the mere fact na meron pa siyang oras na mag-Vogue talks during the Vogue threads in November, kahit na may sinat at may lagnat siya, shows the dedication that she has for this industry. And it shows din yung kanyang yung kanyang passion sa industry nito whenever you talk about fashion with her, because when she when we were blessed enough to be able to guest her in UP in April, my students did not give her easy questions in fashion. Of course, walang mga personal questions na involved, but a lot of the questions that my students gave were very intelligent na tawag ito, na mga mga questions on fashion. Like, nag-uulit ka ba ng mga outfits mo? Paano mo inuulit? Paano mo mix and match yung mga items that you have so that it still looks new and fresh, even if nagamit mo siya before? And how do you make the investment on fashion? How do you see fashion in the next 5-10 years? So these are questions that she was able to answer intelligently, with fashion vocabulary. The mere fact that she's mentioning Michael Coste, Kevin Kwan, the different editors of Vogue that she's met over the years, from Desmond Lib to Anna Wintour, to meeting Andre Leon Talley. These are personalities, these are words that most industry practitioners know. And the mere fact that the students are able to talk to her with these names, knowing that she has she has had Christmas with Christian Louboutin, she had has a personal relationship with these designers from Elisab and other French luxury designers. It tells you that she is really dedicated and passionate to this industry. And my students, having that and seen that, na pwede pala ang mga Filipinos na umakyat sa global stage with that magnitude, allows them permission to dream big. Kasi before Heart, we haven't heard of anyone who has made this big in the international fashion industry. The last person that we know who made it this big in the industry is Ana Baile, and that is in the modeling part of the fashion industry. So, isipin mo, a lot of my students were at awe with the experience, told me, and showed us essentially that all it takes pala for us to dream big is someone to show you that yes, you can, because they already did it, and that person telling you that you can do also, that you can also get to a career this big, because it's sort of like we all need a verbal permission from someone of authority, to tell us that yes, you can. And that assurance, malaking malaking ego boost, malaking confidence boost for anyone who feels small in this industry, who feels like napakaliit nating bosses para mapakinggan ng buong mundo. And this, this kind of confidence boosting na talk is the reason why a lot of my students wish to have a personal time with her na tawag ito, mapakinggan siya talking about fashion, mapakinggan siya to to tell them that if kaya niya, kaya rin natin. And I think that is the biggest blessing that tawag ito, that Heart has given my students. Hindi na sa akin but for my students alone, I think napakalaking napakalaking moral booster. Kasi the mere fact that some of them started to compete at mga fashion na mga competitions, like yung DOST PTRI na stitch up, yung bench design award, which one of my students in an I Academy is one of the semi-finalists. One of my students as well in I Academy won the Shell Likha na design competition. And I am lining up another potential na competition for my students again in this coming 2025, so that ma-build up yung confidence nila to to dream big in the industry. And I think that is one of the biggest gift that anyone can give to you, yung mabigyan ka ng konfiyansa sa sarili mo. I think that is one of the blessings that Heart has given us this year, that hindi ko kayang ibigay sa mga students ko kung ako lang mag-isa yung magsasabi sa kanila na kaya nyo, na you can do this. Sometimes we need someone who has made it in the industry na sabihin sa'yo na you can do it, you can live up your dreams, that you only need to to work hard, trust yourself, trust with your talent. Napakalaking moral booster nun, and this is the reason why I am forever thankful and grateful to that opportunity that Heart gave to my students. And this only happened once. I don't think na mauulit pa ito, pero kung kayang maulit, why not, diba? But the mere fact that until now, I have students na coming up to me na saying na, "Sir, sana naman madala mo si Heart sa amin for our class na ganito, ganyan." Alam mo yun, yung parang it's suntok sa buwan. That tawag ito, na napansin tayo. Kasi sino lang naman ako para pansinin ng isang Heart Evangelista? That kind of blessing, that kind of knowledge na there is someone who believes in the work that I do for my students, that my intention is for them to have the opportunities that I did not have, to have the learning that hindi ko naranasan during my time as a student, na maibigay ko sa kanila. I think malaking blessing yon for me as an educator. Kasi it's not every day that you get this kind of validation na ako din, in my ambitions, in my dreams as a teacher, as an educator, valid pala yung mga ginagawa ko. Valid naman pala yung mga paghihirap na ginagawa ko for my students, because napapansin siya nung mga powers at be, and they are willing to to sit down for an hour and engage with my students and learn and teach what they have learned, and share their invaluable na knowledge with them. That is the reason why Heart Evangelista is number one on my list. And this is also the reason why I am kind of protective of her. Yes, I know that a lot of haters, a lot of pageant fans will throw it in my face that you are biased, you are you are pro heart, I would say yes. And there is a middle ground where I can be pro heart, but at the same time, I can be level headed when I am giving out criticisms or critiques on every other influencer that there is. So, pwede ka naman na magkaroon ka ng preference, but at the same time maintain a level-headedness when it comes to giving feedback, when it comes to giving critiques, when you're criticizing someone else's work, and find, a fair way, or rather fair na um, calling out when it comes to their work. Especially knowing what I know behind of what happened behind the scenes from people surrounding, these influencers, these people. There are some knowledge that I cannot share, that I know, that makes me more knowledgeable when I talk about something. And hindi ito basta-bastang um, galing lang sa isang tao ang perspective ko. It came from multiple people who are knowledgeable of the shenanigans that happen behind the scenes. And this is the reason why I still have mad respects for Hart, because despite all of the things that she has to go through in the past several years, she still came out as a winner. She still came out as someone who is willing to help other people, and someone who's willing to share what she knows in order for others, to follow behind her steps and make it big in the global scene. So that's the reason why among the influencers that I think we should be giving attention to in 2025, Heart Evangelista tops the list. So if I'm going to sum it up, we should be following the career trajectory of Kelsey Merritt, Kylie Versosa, of course, Catriona Gray. Give special, special na tawag ito, na attention to a newbie. Her name is Zoe Santiago. And then, of course, Heart Evangelista topping the list. So I think these are the 5 girls, the 5 influencers, Filipino influencers that I am hoping to be bigger and more hindi lang bigger, more successful in their careers in 2025. Okay? So, I think it's time for us to, to look at the comment section and check out, okay, saan na ba tayo mag-end? Check out yung mga comments you here. Hala, nasaan na tayo nag-end? Did we end with Ira? I think we ended not with Ira. Okay, Daniela tayo nag-end. Tama. We ended up with the comment from Daniela, and si Ira yung kasunod. No, we ended with Ira, sorry. Next is si Daniela yung tawag nito, yung comment na hindi pa natin nababasa. Sorry. Okay, nalito ako doon. Daniela Alejandro Lee says, what can you say about Adam and MEPH? Di ba tinanong, Jess, you don't have to answer that right away. Pag closing remark na lang, LOL. Hindi joke lang, but I wanted to hear perspective kasi I like you. Okay. I think nasagot ko na yan in previous live stream last November, yung issue with MEPH and Adam. So sandali lang. Okay. So again, ang problema kasi doon sa situation ni Adam is that I don't believe he should have apologized. Kasi he was asked a question, he gave a very candid answer. It was not a very polished way of delivering his answer. I know kung saan siya nanggagaling, saan yung perspective niya. But it could have been said in a much more diplomatic way. I think konting ano lang, konting positive scripting lang ang kailangan kasi masyado pang masakit sa mga Filipino pageant fans yung tawag ito, yung binanggit ni Adam. But looking from a different perspective, tama ba na si Chelsea yung pinadala? I don't necessarily agree na dapat pinadala natin um, uh, si Christy or si Atisa kasi I think naman Chelsea really earned her crown at MEPH. Ang tingin ko lang was that strong si Chelsea during MEPH, but she was totally transformed into a princess sweetie pie look na image for Miss Universe. And that for me was inconsistent with what I saw on her socials na very fierce, strong yung kanyang mga photo shoots pero ibang-iba yung china-channel na energy ni Chelsea at Miss Universe in Mexico during that time. So because of that inconsistency, I think nakita ng mga judges yun na we are seeing a very strong, powerful, sophisticated, finessed na image on social media pero pagdating sa tawag ito sa sa on ground on site very patwitams. So it is I think that disconnect that some of the judges probably had formed a opinion na we are looking for a queen, not a princess. So maybe that's tawag ito, that's the reason why Chelsea did not move further into the competition. And also, I know gas-gas na to sinasabi ko about Mexico being not a forgiving na venue for Filipinas. I am just happy na nakapasok tayo sa first cut. And at least meron tayong pampalubag loob na tawag ito na nakuha natin yung Miss Universe Asia na tawag ito na continental title. Because again, I would rather have something kesa zero at all, knowing that in the past, a lot of the Filipinas that we sent in Mexico, at Miss Universe in Mexico, hindi pumapasok sa semis. So, happy na ako doon sa na-achieve ni Chelsea. Is it, do I feel that, the the criticism on Adam is valid. Valid pero hindi kinakailangan na maging mean or maging maging overly tayo na judgmental when it comes to the way that we handle the situation with Adam. Kasi I think Adam is one of those content creators na invest on his own with his own money, his own resources, his own time and effort to cover Miss Universe. And he may need to learn how to be more more diplomatic and more sugar-coated in the way that he delivers yung kanyang mga opinions. But that comes with with experience, and that comes with learning from your mistakes in the past. So maybe this is this is also an opportunity for us na mga content creators and sa mga pageant fans na nakikiusyoso din naman doon sa kanyang feed, sa kanyang coverages na ng Miss Universe na wag naman tayong masyadong harsh doon sa tao. Tao lang siya. He will make mistakes. This is not going to be the last mistake that he's gonna make in his coverage of pageants. But knowing Adam, wala siyang mali siya. Hindi siya malisyosong tao. Hindi siya masamang tao. Hindi siya yung taong sasabihan ka ng maganda pero at the when nakataligod ka sasaksakin ka niya sa loob. That's not Adam. He just wears his heart on his sleeves, and sometimes it becomes a double-edged knife na it can hurt himself as well with that. So now that I see Adam unti-unti na bumabalik sa kanyang social media feed, I hope that the people who truly support and believe in him would truly support him through thick and thin. Kasi iba din kasi yung dinadala na lakas ng loob ng community mo. And I've seen that here in our community, in Sashes&Scripts, na buo yung community natin despite the fact that maraming binabato against sa akin, that my opinions are usually very unpopular at times. I don't feel alienated because I know that the community understand my perspective, and our community knows where I am coming from. And nagagawa kong i-explica din sa inyo yung perspective ko, where I'm coming from, what are my reasons for saying this and that, for having an opinion that is contrary to most other content creators or other fans' opinions on certain things. So, yun. Nasa na tayo? Sabi ni Daniela din, Kylie to me reminds me of Kim Kardashian. I kinda see the comparison, especially because of yung aesthetics nila. Ira says, I hope people will stop thinking that Heart does not welcome other Filipinos attending fashion. Nasaan na ba tayo? Pia should have started like how Kelsey, Kylie, Zoe, and others did. She did some sneaky moves kasi. Sabi ni Daniela, Maxine is one of the prettiest. I agree. I think yun yung bentahe talaga ni Maxine. Na ang puhunan niya talaga is yung beauty of face. And I remember mga kwento ng mga kasamahan ko sa Sash Factor dati, na nung nakita daw talaga ni Madam si Maxine in person, sabi niya, ang ganda ng mukha mo, iha. Yun daw yung sabi niya. Of course in English and Spanish, but you get what I mean. Saan ba tayo? Kipi Borecha says, Hi Sir Jason, can Megan Young can also be as successful as a fashion influencer like Catriona? Anong segment ng market sa fashion ang pwede kay Megan? I think yes, pwede naman. For me kasi, the one thing that I really, really hope na magkaroon ng celebrity influencer on is on skincare. And skincare products. And I think, Pia would have been perfect for that. Now, I think that is a niche market that Megan Young can own herself. Kasi Megan is already in her 30s, if I'm not mistaken, and she still looks like the way she did when she won in 2013. Okay. Daniela Alejandra Lee says, out of the topic lang, be. Anok Yai, what can you say about her opening the Prada show? Ay, my gosh. Anok Yai is one of the models na it models ngayon. I am hoping that her career would follow the same trajectory or the same success path like that of Michelle Bunchen. Because Michelle, Giselle Bunchen is the most successful model that there is. Okay? And I think, what I hope for, what do you call this? For Anok Yai, for her career as a model, is to have the versatility of Linda Evangelista, the success of Giselle Bunchen, and the longevity of Naomi Campbell. I think, kung ma-achieve niya yon, I think she's going to be a name that kapag inihanay mo sa mga pangalan like Tyra, like Iman, like Naomi, hindi siya mawawala doon sa lineup na yon. Ira says, I agree with your opinion of Catriona, sir. She's not the type of person na competitive and knows how to set aside na yung pageant era and moved on from it. Kaya she's loved by many and icon ng binibining Pilipinas. I agree. That is also the reason why you would see her at Binibining Pilipinas every year, because doon siya talaga nandun yung puso niya. And kung wala ang puso niya sa isang brand, she's not gonna do it just for the sake of the money. Okay? Sabi ni Daniela, Jason, wag mo akong bibiglain sa mga example mo. Ang bibigat at lahat gusto ko. One of my favorite light blue by Dolce. Kasi ang ganda, ang sarap din kasi ng ano ng amoy ng light blue, D&G light blue. There's another perfume, I forgot. It's Easy Miyake, the one with the flower na pula. Sarap din nun na amoy na pangbabae. I remember when I was in Jakarta, nagpabili siya ng pabango na yon. And then there's also one, Arpège d'Éclat. I don't know, I'm sorry, I cannot speak French, so correct me if I am wrong, but it is from Lanvin. Ang sarap din ng amoy nung pabango na yon. Saan ba tayo? Nasaan na ba tayo? Okay. Medusa of Pageantry, sabi niya, what about Marian Rivera? She's the queen, she's everywhere. Okay. Unpopular opinion. Okay? It's very difficult for me to look at Marian Rivera and Anne Smith. Anne Curtis. Sorry, Anne Smith. Anne Curtis and Marian Rivera to be influencers on the fashion na level. Because I think that for them, they would be perfect with beauty, with skincare. I think nandun yung opportunities for them. However, I also see them as consumers of luxury goods. And I think it's just that because their brands is very democratic, their image is very democratic, na mula alta hanggang masa yung kanilang yung kanilang reach. And a lot of people on the masa levels are following these two ladies. Ang hirap ng i-manage for their image and their influencer career na maging purely luxury lang. So I think for these two, they are more effective as endorsers and influencers, not necessarily influencers lang. So I think there is a niche market somewhere between the prestige, mastige, and the mass market. Somewhere probably in the mastige na sector, that would be perfect for for these ladies. I see them endorsing watches, hindi watches na yung Seiko but watches like Patek Philippe, watches like Omega, yung mga high-end na mga watches, high-end na mga timepieces, and jewelry pieces like Tiffany, like not the high-end na mga Chopard or Cartier, but more more accessible na mga jewelry brands like Tiffany, for example. Okay. Sabi ni Daniela, Adam is being Adam. We don't have the right to say something harsh sa kanya. Buti nga na he is sharing. I agree. So there. I think we're oh my God, umabot na naman tayo ng 2 oras. I apologize for taking this long. But I am very grateful for everyone who's here because you have been very, very supportive through the entire year with me. And I do hope na, na by 2025, I am able to balance more fluidly yung aking, yung aking schedule so that meron akong oras that is dedicated for you guys on our channel, as well as managing yung administrative and yung educational part ng aking day job. So I do hope na everything will stabilize by the first 2 months, 3 months of 2025, and I am hoping na you will be with me again throughout the entire year next year as we go from strength to strength victory to victory. So I am grateful for everyone for sticking with us in this live stream. Thank you very much for all the support. Please do leave a like doon sa ating dito sa ating live stream, so that once we're done with our with our live stream episode this evening, marami pa yung makakapanood, marami pa yung ma-enjoy yung ating episode tonight. So thank you very much for everyone who has been here with us throughout the year, whether you're active on Instagram, Facebook, or on YouTube. Thank you very much for the support, dahil it is something that really warms our heart. Really is something that we look forward to build on in the incoming year of the snake. So thank you very much to everyone. And before we leave, please do I do hope that you leave a like. And then I also want to leave you guys with a well wish, with a well sorry. I wish you all guys well wishes in this holiday season. Sana po ngayong Pasko maging merry tayo lahat. And we find the happiness, the joy in spending time with our families. We find the peace, the gratitude. We find the positive energies to share in this Christmas season with everyone. And I do hope na magandang pasok ng 2025 sa ating lahat, just like how 2025 has been a blessing to me and to our community. So thank you very much. Tuloy natin to in the next week. I am gonna find ways na magkaroon tayo ng konting chikahan with Mark, because I want to touch on something na alam kong mas marami siyang knowledge on this topic. So abangan niyo yan. So thank you very much for everyone, and I do hope to see you in our next live stream. Have a great week ahead, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Bye!